Hey, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Owner's Box. I'm Billy Koch, and that is the train at Del Mar coming through my living room in the background. This is Michelle Yu, as always, is with us very early this morning on a Thursday morning, getting ready for week 2 at Del Mar, and we have a very special guest. Kenny McPeek is going to join us and talk Torpedo Anna, as well as probably a little Mystic Dan. And I'm going to find out his secrets.
Are you now? Now, to
Yeah,
be fair, I want to clarify that he's coming on because he is a partial owner of Torpedo Anna.
Yeah, that's good. I mean,
Well, you know how I'm such. Oh, look, there's a train coming through my yard.
Yeah, it just went right by me and to you, so it should be an interesting show this morning. As you can see, I'm a little hoarse.
I heard you were a big horse, Billy.
No, I think I blew out my vocal cords. Like,
okay, so is this all residual from Ice Cream You Scream?
Yeah, like okay. I was just like standing there. I'm like, come on, Hector, come on, Tito, come on, girl. And then all of a sudden, I was like, it's like I think I just blew them out.
You have to go from here, Billy, from your chest.
I know.
I'm like,
and I'm not. I'm not rooting anymore. I'm just gonna.
Oh, please! I have never.
Snap. I'm gonna just do like keep my mouth closed.
Okay. I was gonna say I have never seen you watch a race without rooting.
I just can't. But I literally, I think I might have injured myself.
You could have. Remember me? I was like that like a year ago. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I hear that.
How was your opening weekend at Del Mar?
I wasn't here.
Oh, you were at the Haskell?
I was in Haskell.
How was your opening weekend at Monmouth?
Yeah, Monmouth was really good. Obviously, they ran the Haskell, which is one of our 3 things of note. And we had a Belmont rematch there between Dornoch and Mindframe. And considering the field we started out with and the field we ended up with, I still thought we got a really, really exciting race.
That was a great race. I mean, Mindframe looked like just like the Belmont. He looked like a winner at the top of the lane, and for whatever reason, decides to. I don't know what's with that.
See,
horse.
I don't think he drifted this time. Like
he didn't drift as bad.
Well, this time I thought that they floated him wide regardless and let him kind of be out there in the middle, maybe thinking like that would stop him from drifting at the end.
I don't know, but you know how we always say, like, if you look at a race, if you just watched like from the 3/8 pole to kind of the quarter pole, and then you just stopped it and you said, who wins this race? Like both of those races, you would have said Mindframe.
Mindframe, yeah.
Yeah. And both times Dornoch won, and congratulations to your good friend Jason Worth and that team. We got to have him on the show. And, I was listening to some crazy discussion, might have been on TVG, about who's the best 3-year-old right now.
Well, it's Dornoch.
It's got to be, right?
It's got to be. There's no question. He's the only horse in the division that has won 2 grade 1s, right? So we have to give it to him. And I mean, with Mystic Dan sideline now, he doesn't have the opportunity to come back. I do feel like his Derby, he won over some of the really good horses at the time that were very, very ready. And so he would probably get a little bit of credence there. But with him not able to kind of add to that tally, it's hard to say.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. That was a good race. And now we have the Travers. Do we have the Travers this weekend or next weekend?
Jim Dandy's this weekend.
Jim Dandy, sorry.
Yeah, so the Jim Dandy ends up with a pretty decent field up there at Saratoga.
Sierra Leone, Fierceness.
Now, if Sierra Leone doesn't win this race because of his antics of his own, okay? So we're discounting him completely, right?
Yeah, I need to see him put a performance. Like after the Bluegrass, I thought he was like the second coming,
right?
And then the whole Derby thing, the lugging in, and then the last race, it was just like, it's too much for me.
I don't like it. It's too much.
It's too much.
I don't feel like we saw what we wanted to from him, like with the addition of the bit and everything. And I don't know, maybe just one of those horses that just kind of needs to get better on his own. Does that make sense?
No.
Like he just needs to mature.
Like he just needs to grow up.
Yeah, maybe nothing that we do is going to.
Well, who's we? You mean Chad Brown?
Yes, yeah, me and Chad Brown.
Are you training the horse?
Yes, I am. Chad and I are in constant communication about him. I guess, I mean,
You know
me
that?
as
Do you know that? Speaking of constant communication, that I have a horse with Steve Asmussen, and every morning I get a video of the horse galloping.
That's great.
And I thought to myself, like, either he really likes this horse,
Or
or he
you.
does this with all his clients. So I asked the assistant, I'm like, does everyone get videos every morning, or is this just special? Am I just special? And he goes, no, everyone gets videos.
Wow.
Yeah, he has like 600 horses.
I know. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Does he have a full-time videographer on his staff?
I don't know. Maybe he does it on his cell. I think he just sits there.
I mean, even in the dark, when they train in the dark?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Go
Anyway,
Rasmus.
all right. What's the number 2? Because I'm tired of talking about all these 3-0s.
Coaching Club American Oaks this weekend at Saratoga, which was won by Torpedo Anna. And unlike previous races, she did not have a very great trip this time. She didn't get out of the gate very well, and I thought she had to overcome a lot.
She's amazing. I love her.
Do you think she's the best 3-year-old, bar none?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No question.
Now, if you had her, would you run her against the boys?
I'd have to think about it. Knowing me and my management style, probably not.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything to gain. Like I mean, other than,
I mean, if she won the Travers, she'd have a clear case for Horse of the Year.
Yeah, but there's still a long way to go. And like, it also depends, like, if you're, and we'll find out from Kenny when we talk to him, but like, if they're planning on keeping her, are they planning on selling her? Because if they're just planning on keeping her for themselves as a broodmare when she's done, what's the difference? Yeah. Right? I mean, if they're planning on selling her at public auction and they're trying to get 10 million instead of 6 million.
Yeah.
Maybe, but you're also taking a risk. You're putting her against the boys, and who knows who else with Dornock running in there, and who knows who wins the Jim Dandy, and who knows who Baffert might send back there, you know. Oh, hi. So I wouldn't, but as a sportsman, like, it would be awesome. You know, it would be awesome. I would root for it, but I don't know if I would.
Okay.
There you go. We can find out a lot when we talk to Kenny.
Yeah. Okay. Our third thing of note is kind of like multifaceted. So it was that Churchill Downs actually dropped their ban against trainer Bob Baffert. So for the first time in 3 years, he'll be allowed to have horses run at Churchill Downs' own properties. And that obviously includes the Kentucky Derby. And almost to celebrate that moment, he unleashed 3 or 4 really nice 2-year-old winners here. It was like, hey, Bob, you're good. You can come to Derby. Right. And he was like,
pay him. What about the fillies?
Oh yeah.
It's like,
it was good.
Yeah.
It was exciting. So kudos to him. It was opening weekend, like you said, at Del Mar. We had a lot of really good races. We had some good stakes. Billy won with I Scream, You Scream. She put in a fantastic run.
You didn't like her name. You said you didn't like her name.
Love the horse, hate her name.
It's a great name.
No, it's not.
She's my silver screamer out of Twirling Candy.
Twirling Candy. I know, but ice cream isn't candy anyways.
I mean, I know, but I Scream, You Scream. I mean, it's so good.
There's so many words all pushed together.
It's one word. I Scream,
I know,
You Scream.
But it's supposed to be I Scream, You Scream. So it's supposed to be 4 words that you've shoved into one.
And we took out the YOU. So, I mean, I thought she was pretty impressive, Michelle. First time going 2 turns, you know, getting pressure on the lead, even though they didn't go that fast. It's one thing, you know, it's one thing to have an easy lead, but it's not, it's different when you have an easy lead and there's a horse literally like right next to you, you know. I thought Maduro had a really bad trip. I thought she was at the 3
bad, yeah.
She was loaded. That was
a big effort for her off of the layoff and an ambitious spot also.
I think the Del Mar Oaks is going to be really interesting. You'll maybe get some shippers in there, and I know Phil is planning on running that Circle of Trust in there, and she'll come in fresh. And 1 1/8, who knows if Ice Cream can go that far? I surely think she can. And then Maduro second off the layoff. I think that's going to be a really good race. I think the race. Are we still talking, or we got Kenny?
No, still us.
I think the race of the Del Mar meet is coming up on Sunday.
Oh, what is it?
The Eddie Reed.
You think it's going to be the best?
I think it's going to be the best race. You have Johannes. Okay. I think Du Jour. Okay. Then you have the D'Amato trio. You have Gold Phoenix, Balnikov, and Easter. And then you have Dicey Mocara. Excuse me. I just think right there that if I'm forgetting anybody, forgive me. We're taking entries today for Sunday. But I think
I watched Balnikov and GFP work. I thought Balnikov looked really,
he always
really
does. Gold Phoenix is not a good workhorse.
No, he's not.
But Gold Phoenix has won the Del Mar Handicap, and the Eddie Reed in a row. His last 3 races at Del Mar. So, like, you have to take him seriously. The problem is there's no real speed. I think Johannes is the sharpest horse coming in off back-to-back really good wins, including the Grade 1 win. I just think it's a really cool race. You know, it's going to be probably not going to be run that fat quickly because of the pace. I think you're going to have that balladeer in there. And I think Dicey Mocara will probably lay second. Then you'll have Johannes and Gold Phoenix. And then you'll have Easter and Balnikov. I mean, it's just going to be a cavalry charge when they turn for home.
Yeah. No, it's going to be a good. I think that the Bing ends up being a really good race too. That's a phenomenal race. It's already been drawn. So if you haven't looked, you certainly want to check that out. I mean, Doug O'Neill's got a couple of really good horses. The Chosen Brawn is in there.
How do you beat the Chosen Brawn? How do you even root against the Chosen Brawn?
You can't root against it. I mean, you can bet against him because of his odds and how big the field's going to be. And this is going to be.
He's not going to be like 6-5 in that field.
Yeah, maybe.
I take the over.
I mean, how do you not root for him?
Yeah, it's impossible.
You have to root for him.
You have to. Just
like
my mustache. What do you think of this mustache? It's coming in nicely.
I don't know. It's a little thick for me.
Yeah, no, that's what I like. I'm kind of going for the thick thing. My sister asked me if I dunked my chin in a glass of milk.
Milk?
Yeah.
Looks like you were eating cereal and just as it dribbles, it just stays there. All right. So that was all of our 3 things of note. 3 things of note.
We have some sponsorship opportunities to talk about today, don't we? Oh, wait.
We definitely do. And that's what I was trying to pull up. I'm muted.
Oh, no. Yeah, you're back. Your voice, you were talking. It was like one of those old karate movies where you were talking and nothing was coming out. And then your voice came.
Oh, okay.
Now it's working.
It's working now?
Kind of. You're a little off.
So that's interesting to know. So that means if I open another window, it slows down my like verbal stuff, so it doesn't look right. Yeah. That's good to know. Good to know. Let me find our ads that I can read real quick.
Okay.
Here we go. And then we'll have a quick pause until we get McPeek on here, okay?
Okay, very good.
Do want to thank our sponsors for the week, the Adelphi Racing Club, which is a modern racing partnership that delivers a top-class partner experience, transparent communication, and success on the racetrack. Adelphi has won 18% of starts while finishing in the money more than 50% of the time since the club's inception in 2020. Adelphi is more than just a syndicate, they're partners. Their recent stakes winners include New York bred's Funny How and Pandagate. After his dominating win in the Great R Stakes, Pandagate and his partners enjoyed a world-class racing experience in Dubai, where he was third to some of the top 3-year-olds in the world in the UAE Derby. They have some shares left of 2-year-olds, including fillies by Twirling Candy and Mackenzie. You can learn more about those horses by visiting adelphiracing.com or emailing the founder and managing partner, Matt Coulter, Matt@Adelphi, ADELPHI Racing.com.
We've had Matt on the show.
Kenny McPeek's here.
All right.
Let's add him in.
Bring him on. My man.
Kenny.
What's up, Billy?
What's up, legend?
I don't know. Isn't that bizarre?
But what do you mean bizarre?
That is the breakfast delivery guy right there, or the pizza delivery guy.
Yeah, oh yeah. That beats going out and spending $2,000, $3,000 on a big dinner. The kids swimming in the pool eating pizza. That's all they cared about.
I hear that. That.
We appreciate you coming on today.
Any distracting noises.
Sonny.
Who is that?
That's Sonny.
That's Sonny. You haven't seen him, Billy? He has his own like saddle towels and stuff for Derby.
That's sick. Oh
yes.
yes, honey.
Oh yes.
That's amazing.
I think Pimlico gave him his own like dog bed and everything that had his name on it, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very spoiled.
Kenny, this is gonna be a fun show because I already told Michelle, every year you come up with something. There's always a big horse from the Kenny McPeek barn, and we're gonna get into Mystic Dan and Torpedo Anna in a minute. But like, we have decided we just want to know your secret. So go.
I could never train a slow horse to run fast. I've made a few fast horses run slow, but what I've done professionally is really pretty simple. I mean, when I was a young trainer, I would go to the races and I would see, the Wayne Lucases of the world and Woody Stevens, and of course, you compete against a lot of really top guys in this game, and girls, but you're only as good as the horses that you have. So you've got to have a base of decent horses coming in, and otherwise you get forgotten as a trainer. A friend of mine used to tell me, Kenny, you're one good horse from being on the front page. Nobody cares about the rest of them. And he was right. A guy named Steven Racer. Unfortunately, we lost him last year, but Steve was right. You've got to have that, what I'd call front page horse, to keep your business rolling. And because this game is so difficult, and there's so many people out there that are working really hard to win races themselves. And so what I basically have done is that I don't know if I'd call perfected, but I've got a pretty good program when it comes to selecting young horses. And like I said, I really obsess about the type of horses that I'm getting into the barn. And say hi, Sonny.
Anyway. Yeah, let me stop you there, Kenny, real quick, because and listen, I was joking. You're not going to tell us, but like when you do go to these sales, and it's funny, as you go through barns, people do have a certain type of horse. So what is that type for Kenny McPeek? My guess would be athletic. That's where I would start. I think when I see a Kenny McPeek horse, they look like athletes.
I'm obsessed about the hip, the hind leg horse. I've never trained or seen a top horse that didn't have a great hind leg. Come here. Sonny's all fired up. Relax. Just relax. Come here. But I've never seen a top horse that didn't have a great hind leg. And it didn't matter what surface they ran on or distance they ran. They all have a certain hip to them, if you ask me. And
so what's the hip?
Well, the angles, but the angles.
Yeah, but is it the high hip? Is it like a CI? What's the angle?
You know what? I don't know that I could explain it to you other than I look for it all the time, whether I'm in the paddock in a stake race and looking at everybody else's horses. I love looking at top horses, but I think that the way a horse's hind leg cuts, and whether it's the size of the hindquarters, the point of the hip, the angle, the stifle, to the hock, and even the length of the hind cannon and the fetlocks and how everything ties together. And it's very artistic. None of it's black and white. Mm-hmm. But I do think that there's a rhyme and a reason to the hind leg, and then you've got to have balance, and then actually probably am very forgiving. Everybody says, how do you get all the bargains? I get them because I'm more forgiving on the front end. Yeah. The front end needs to bounce, get through itself, but the front end is probably the least important part of the racehorse. You don't ignore it, but the rest of it is really what carries the depth of shoulder. You want to see what I call the heart triangle, top of the withers, point of the chest, bottom of the girth. That triangle might dictate whether a horse has the air capacity to compete at a high level. So there's a lot of different ways to look at horse, and there's different what I call constellations. There are the northern dancer types that are the typey small horses. There are the Roberto types that are the bigger, longer, different types of angles. So they come in all shapes and sizes, and none of it's black and white. It's all gray. It's all instinct. And I could never afford to buy a bad horse. I always felt like I had to come up with a good horse to be competitive.
Yeah, and by the way, that was probably the most educational horse assessment ever on the owner's box. So I want to personally thank you for that.
I have 2 questions. My
ahead.
first question is, who do you think that you've picked out is your most perfect physical specimen?
Oh goodness. Believe it or not, it's not a horse you would know. It's a horse. I had a colt named 10 City years back that was an absolute rocket ship. And he was $12,000 yearling, but he was one of the best look. I wish I could clone that horse. I mean, he was so fantastic, and weirdly enough, he was one of the favorites in the Breeders' Futurity, and he tore a suspensory ligament in the race and never ran again. But he was the same crop as Justify, and I think that if that horse had had a little more luck, he would have been in the thick of all that. Justify would have had a hard time beating that horse, but I've had a lot of really good ones, and none of them are perfect. Every horse has got different idiosyncrasies, whether how they're made or how they move, and but I do think that hip and shoulder is the biggest deal.
Who's your favorite horse you've ever picked out?
Oh goodness, probably Swiss Skydiver at this point.
She was awesome.
Yeah. She was the pleasant surprise. Came out of late September. We were working really hard, and we really didn't. Of course, when you're buying them, you're signing tickets and you're moving to the next one. But she quietly was just so professional as a young horse, and then all the things she accomplished. But the cool thing about her is I was really close to her. Part of us, I guess you could say, big trainers. You get these outfits that get so big, and I'm a big outfit. I'm not a small outfit. But with her, I was able to spend a lot of quality time with her, and that was during COVID. And everywhere we shipped, I was the hot walker. Robbie galloped her. We had Chico who groomed her. I would walk her, hold her for a bath. She was an absolute queen to be around. And I wish he hadn't sold her. I wish she was still here. Actually, my daughter, you can mention her name, and my 8-year-old daughter just goes to tears.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, but she was so special.
Let me throw this out, because you talk about all these successful horses, and we're talking about it, and you're also obviously very talented at what you do as far as picking the horses. But I also think what you do, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's a bit of a numbers game here. Like, you go into it with a plan, you raise a lot of money, and you go out and buy not 4, not 5, but 20 or 25. So it's something that Michelle and I talk about all the time. It's very difficult to go to a sale and buy one horse and say, this is going to be our champion. Am I off base here, Kenny?
I don't raise any money at all, actually.
Oh, you don't?
And I don't even look at the catalog. What I do is that I go into the catalog or the horse sale with a clear mind. I like to look at horses, and then I'll call it, I squeeze them. So let's say there are 400 horses in the Keeneland session.
Yeah.
Or Fasig-Tipton, 2 wonderful sales companies. And I'm looking at 400 that go through that day. So Dominic Brennan, and he's kind of like my Robin to Batman, I suppose. So Dominic Brennan and I have been doing this together for 30 plus years. And I'll say, Dominic, you hit barn 1. I'm going to hit barn 12. I'll meet you in the middle. Slice and dice them, save me some footwork on the other side of the barn area, or I'll get as far as I can and then circle behind him. And then by the end of the day, we've usually looked at all 400, and we're extremely fast. I'm a boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Some people nickname me Mr. 7 Seconds.
You lead them out, and as soon as you see him, right? Yes or no, and put them up.
Like your 7 seconds, which might not be great in other aspects of life.
It's like falling in love real quick. I mean, I am really quick. I'm very decisive about it. But what I'll do is I'll take the 400, and let's say there are 60 in the auction that I think, these are pretty nice horses. I mean, and you think about there's a percentage approach to everything. Keeneland September is typically a 7% first session auction, 7% stakes winners. So I know if there's 400 horses, there's 28 stakes winners in there. That's all I'm looking for is the stakes winners.
Yeah.
So, or the potential stakes winners. So let's say I call that session down into 60. Then the next morning I go out and I look at the 60. Then I'll call that group down into 20. And then the 20, we'll put together a short list. It's not unusual for me to forward that to the people that I work for. I say, these are the horses that I'm zeroed in on. These are the horses that I think have the right parts, right places, the right type of pedigree. I think absolutely nothing about budget.
Nothing.
No.
And you haven't even talked about pedigree. You're just talking about the horse right now.
That's it. Well, when you're looking at the pedigree, once you find the 20, then you're looking for the right crosses. You want to see top line dominant speed. You want to see some stamina in the bottom. You want to see what I'd call a little rhyme or reason to what I'm looking at.
Sure.
Am I looking at the sire who was a sprinter out of a mare that was by, off the top of my head, I love Deputy Minister. Sure. If I see Deputy Minister in the page. But let's say I'm looking at a Sadler's Wells top line and a bottom line Mr. Prospector type. So you want to see the pattern. There has to be a rhyme or a reason to what you're looking at. And then I'll wait on that group of horses, and I'll get a warm, fuzzy feeling about a horse and say, and I like to look at horses 3-4 times before they hit the ring. And then I'll send my vet for the ones that I think are worth vetting. And then the morning, this is how I hit bargains. The morning of the sale, I'll walk through and ask consigners, what's the reserve? Do you have a reserve? What's your expectation? So I've already zeroed in on the 20 that I like. I'm going to get an idea of what they're going to cost. I get an idea of their vet exams, and then I wait. When a horse goes through that I think's value, I raise my hand, sign the ticket. Almost always without somebody in pocket.
Wow. And how do you then do that for your clients? Because you said you tell your clients, these are the ones I'm looking at. Sometimes, how do you know who gets what, or who calls you, or do you think this horse would?
It's like Fight Club, Billy. He lets all his owners get into the room and duke it out.
Brawl.
Well, I mean, I don't want them bidding against each other, so that's their first thing. I won't let them bid against each other, and sometimes it's just who calls me first.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I sign for a horse under probably 60 or 70, I might get 5 phone calls once it hits the result sheet.
Wow.
So I don't really have to do a lot after that. But then sometimes I've got people like Scott Leeds. He's good about planning. Harold Lerner's usually good about telling me what kind of budget I have.
Sure.
Paul Fireman's one of the most generous clients I ever have. If I want to go big money on a horse, he'll do it. I've got a long list. I'm sure I'm missing a lot of people, but a long list of just someone. Mike Mackin, since I started working for Lucky 7, they've been, very prolific and helping us get good horses. Hey, Danny.
Kenny, since you do this whole thing where you look at every single horse, has there ever been a time when you're standing there and a horse walks up and it looks a lot better that maybe you discounted it at the barn, but he walks up and you're like, actually?
It just depends. I really don't venture off my list. I stick to the list, and then I jump to the next day. Once we're done with that group we might already be processing. We might be bidding while we're looking on the horses for the next day. And I'm to the point where I don't have time to go to the ring. I usually do it remotely. I'll either have somebody in the ring that I can call that calls me that can give me, I can bid right there while I'm standing in barn 45. And that saves a lot of footwork. I used to run to the ring and back and forth all the time. But the older I get, I don't do that anymore.
From an ownership standpoint, how do you decide if you are going to stay in? Like, for example, with Torpedo Aunt Anna, we know that you're a part owner in this horse. How does that is that just happenstance? Is it?
I don't charge commission anymore. I'm 10% equity on everything that I buy.
Everything.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah. Look, there's the pluses and the minuses. The ones that the Torpedo Annas of the world are, that pays for the wholesale. That pays for every average one that I bought into or that I'm in on.
Sure.
Okay. So the 10% equity is unique and it's actually kind of fun. So, like Brookdale, Torpedo Anna's Maine, they were doing more of, they put the money up on the one, and even Scott does this and Harold does this. Actually, most all my clients do this. I find them, buy them, take the 10%, and then they might slice out the other 90 however they want to.
Right.
And my office handles the accounting, and then we go race that horse. Amazing. And so it's actually pretty fun setup in that they can diversify the risk with some other people. And you're right, it is a number.
It's a great way to do it. It's a great way to do it. And you have the action. You have a lot of upside, right, for your 10% on your and like you said, it's fun. I mean, you're part of everything, even though you already are really part of everything. You brought up Swiss Skydiver. I'm going to ask the question, and I apologize if this gets asked, but how does Torpedo Anna compare to Swiss Skydiver?
Well, they're apples and oranges physically. Swiss Skydiver was just a bull.
Yeah, huge.
I mean, physically, just shoulder, hindquarter. I mean, really, really tight, almost sprinter type body that carried herself. Torpedo Anna is a lighter framed filly. Swiss Skydiver was very warm, fuzzy, a complete lover. I can't imagine her. She will be a great broodmare. She was an absolute lover. This filly Torpedo, who I'm only a few steps away from, is a little bit sassy.
That's like Michelle. It's like Michelle.
She's got a streak of bitch in her that that you want to see her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like to see her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the best owner's box of all time.
Ever.
As you're walking with your cell phone, Kenny, do you remember me at the Derby coming up to you and saying, "I think you're going to win both races"?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I was there with your family. I said, "I think you're going to win both races," and you were like, "You think?" And I'm like, "I really do."
I told my wife 3 weeks out I thought we could win them both.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I love
that you're fan clubs here already.
Drew.
Oh, look how cute.
This is amazing. Hi. Look at her.
Hi.
There she is.
Oh yeah, look at
She's actually in a really good mood today. She's in a really good mood today. So some days she's back in her corner and she doesn't want anything to do with anybody. But she's looking
she deserves
for
it.
Oh, Kenny, how tall is she? Because you're tall, but she looks small next to you.
I see there. She'll get the ears pinning every now and then.
Is she allowed?
I don't know. Yeah. Here we go. She's probably 15'4".
15'4".
She's got a great hind leg on her.
Well, here's the big question, Kenny, and I know we've taken up a lot of your time already, but what are the chances she runs in the Travers?
There we go.
Oh.
The Sonny's mad.
He's mad.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Where's my treat?"
That's the $64,000 question.
Yeah. Can we have the
scoop? All the same thing I've told. Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you the same thing. First of all, no decision. I'm waiting on the Ragozin numbers to come out. They haven't dropped yet from Saturday.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to do is hold the numbers on the Haskell against iRace, and there's some math to be done. But let me get back in here in my box.
Yeah.
Come on, Sonny. It's a hard decision, but then again, we'll see. So here's the way I've told everybody pretty much the same thing. If I run her in the Alabama, it's a non-event basically. It might be as much a coronation. Nobody will run against her. I don't think that's good for racing. I think that she'd go over there and she'd be, 1-5 or less. And if that happens, then, I don't think it's good for Naira. So we'll see. It's a race I've won twice, and I'd love to win it again. Actually, if I run her, I could win it 3 times with horses I gave $50,000 or less.
Amazing.
But anyway,
that's sick.
Yeah. Well, Eskimo kisses Swiss skydiver,
Right.
but we'll see. But anyway, so the Travers. So I want to hold the numbers against. I want to look at them. I want to see, what's the separation factor, if any, with her on paper.
Yeah.
And when I get that information, I was hoping to have it last night.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm probably not going to make a decision until this weekend. Matter of fact, we've talked about Saturday afternoon. I should have everything together by then. And I'm probably going to be decisive on it when I do it.
Good.
Because I think it's a great opportunity to promote the sport if I decide to run her there.
Yeah.
I know that Naira's anxious. I know that DraftKings is anxious.
Mm-hmm.
My clients are.
It is interesting, Kenny, because Michelle and I talk about this all the time. We have a lot of people in this game that don't have the big picture of racing in mind. Most people are very, very self-serving. So for you to even say that, hey, I realize this would be good for racing, even just saying that is a feather in your cap. And I can tell you from someone like myself, and I think I speak for Michelle, that we appreciate it because it's so rare in this game. The breeders are looking out for the breeders, the owners are looking out for the owners, the trainers are looking out for the trainers, the tracks are looking out for the tracks. We need people to look out for our sport. I'm going to get off my soapbox now, but I wanted to tell you that it is appreciated.
No, I get it. I mean, no, I absolutely agree. For her against them would be pretty fun, and but I also don't want to take her over there and put her in deeper water than she needs to be. But he hasn't reached back and even hit her once all year.
No.
We don't even know how fast she is yet.
Right.
So even Brian's like, Kenny, I haven't even asked her in all last 4 races. All I've done is wave the stick at her. So how good can she be? Hard to say. But more than anything, we just make sure she's doing super. And like I said, I want to get those rag numbers, Thorograph numbers in my bucket, and when I can study those, and if she's in range, then I would lean towards giving her a shot.
That's awesome.
And the other thing is that we're running for half the money in the Alabama as we would in the Travers too.
Yeah. And will you keep her? Is she the type that is kept by you guys as a broodmare, or does she ultimately go to public auction?
Well, one of the frustrations I've had in my career is that as people sold the Take Charge Ladies and Swiss skydivers, and I've got a long list of grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 winning fillies that I would have loved to have seen. I would have loved to have seen kept in the broodmare band.
Sure.
I think that at this stage we're wide open on that, and even me as an equity partner, I'm not real. I'd love to keep her. I think you could race out of her. Foals out of her, or sell colts, keep fillies. You kind of, I've always said that a mare like her is the goose that lays the golden eggs.
Yeah.
You could have a lot of torpedoes. It would be fun. Torpedo Kenny, Torpedo Billy, Torpedo Michelle.
Okay, I have a question, Kenny. When you're planning her campaign and picking out your races, do you just think what race can we win next, or do you have a year-end goal in mind? Are you working from Breeders' Cup backwards? Are you thinking about what kind of championship honors she can get in going backwards, or are you moving in a forward trajectory always?
Well, the night after she won, of course, I sleep worse the night after they win than the night before. I was thinking about a few different paths, and I haven't shared this openly with anybody else. So, okay, think about it. If I go Alabama, Cotillion, Breeders' Cup Distaff.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
probably the path of least resistance.
Correct.
Right.
I think she's already champion 3-year-old filly, no matter what happens.
Oh yeah.
Would probably be very, very unlikely that somebody would or unless we went completely the wrong direction and somebody else had a great second half.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say that I go, or you could include the QE2 at Keeneland, which is another great race for 3-year-old fillies. And
stay out of that one. Stay out of that one. We need to hold the grass for us, please.
But it gives her a whole nother element as a broodmare prospect.
Yeah.
And if she were to win on the turf, then all of a sudden, you've got more international interest in not only her, but her foals.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a long-term, but the QE2 would probably be a back burner race.
Yeah.
If I go,
that would be so cool, though. I'm just going to throw that
Michelle,
out there.
stop.
I think that would be so cool.
But if you go if you go Travers and you win the Travers, I suppose you go to the Cotillion for another $1 million.
Yeah.
Straight 3-year-old fillies again. You don't really have a 3-year-old colt race. You wouldn't run her in the Pennsylvania Derby.
No.
I think it's the same purse. But if
is.
you were to win the Travers, you would get Cotillion, and do you go Distaff? Probably.
Yeah.
If you lost the Travers, let's say she didn't win the Travers, then you could still come back in the Cotillion, straight 3-year-old fillies.
Yep.
And you could either go
Distaff.
fillies and mares Distaff or QE2 at Keeneland.
Yeah.
Or QE2. You're right.
I mean, I don't know that you'd want to run a 3-year-old filly in the Classic. I don't see it.
No, you're right.
Are you first world problems?
Are you superstitious?
Sometimes, yeah.
I would just, because like even having this conversation, I think I would be dying. I'd be like, yeah, here's my plan. I'm gonna go win the Travers, and then I'm gonna. It's like I would just be like, oh, I'm cooling it. I'm cooling it.
Well, somebody asked me what pressure was.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear my response?
No.
Pressure is 15 bad horses in the dead of winter at Latonia, and an owner that won't pay you.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad.
And you can't make payroll, and you can't pay your feed man, and you can't. I've been there. Yeah. I had a guy that hung me out when I was in my 20s, and every morning was just torture. I couldn't pay my help. I couldn't pay my feed man. I had horses that couldn't run, and I got an owner that won't pay me.
Terrible.
So where we are today is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. And you
know what? You don't think anything negative about this.
It just shows you how special this game is too, and what you've been able to do and what you've been able to accomplish. And even talking to us today, the way you go about your business and it really is. It's a heartfelt congratulations to you and your team. We so appreciate you coming on and sharing it and letting us see Torpedo Anna.
Wait, yes, I have one final question. Okay, I want to know what your favorite win has been with Torpedo Anna.
The Kentucky Oaks.
No, the Oaks.
Maybe not.
Come on.
Yeah, the Oaks.
What question
is that?
Okay. No.
Yeah.
You could. We've had definitely people that would have said it was the CCA because she stumbled at the gate and didn't get a clean trip, and
but it was the Kentucky Oaks. That's the best race you could possibly win for a 3-year-old filly, Michelle. I'm sorry. Yeah. You know what? I apologize, Kenny. I apologize for that.
I don't assume anything. We've heard some.
Billy, just let the woman alone. She's doing fine.
I'm going to are very hot. I mean, look, when I said the best looking horse ever picked out, you're just like naturally thinking Curlin. He comes with a $12,000 horse.
Unbelievable. All right, Kenny, go get him, man.
Curlin
we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the time.
Thanks,
you're
Kenny.
welcome.
We really appreciate
it. All right.
Have a great summer.
See you all.
All right, buddy.
All right, thanks.
Kenny McPeek here on the owner's box.
Co-owner of Torpedo Anna.
How great was that?
That was no joke. One of the best, if not the best show we've done.
And you're just sweating.
I am sweating. I had to turn the air off because it's really loud.
We couldn't hear it. It was good. Kenny
my gosh,
McPeek, man, what a character. He's very good.
So much transparency. He just gave us his entire
I
hope
for people are taking notes. Like I might have to watch this.
Showed us
again.
His champion horse. He talked about his plans for her. He gave us information he hasn't told anybody else.
No,
that was like an Eclipse Award-winning interview.
Seriously, if we're not nominated, there's a problem.
Well, we'll have to edit it because my child walked here.
No, we didn't need to edit it. Just put it on. All right. Thank you, Kenny McPeek. Thank you to Adelphi Racing Stable. Anybody else we need to thank, Michelle?
Our normal sponsors. I mean, we've got our great sponsors like Santa Anita, Del Mar, TaylorMade, Gainesway, of course, the In the Money Media Network, Billy, obviously, for getting up and doing the show with me.
Yeah, we did it early. What do you think? This weekend at Del Mar is going to be awesome. I'm sorry. Saturday is going to be awesome.
It's going to be a great weekend.
You like Elm Drive?
I haven't handicapped
in the
anything.
Daisy Cutter. I think she's gonna be tough in that.
I saw the overnight. I haven't looked at the PPs.
All right. Okay. All right. We have our first 2-year-old running.
Oh, which horse is it?
Her name is Thought Process. But she's in against what looks like a very fast Mandela spendthrift homebred into mischief and against the Baffert. So it's
you can handle both of them, Billy. Come on.
No big deal. He never wins. Never wins 2-year-old races. Michelle, you're the best. Everybody, we'll have another great interview next week, and have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys. Bye.